I'm Amy Lewis. I'm the Information Literacy Librarian at NLC, and today I'm going to cover APA citations, hopefully demystify them for you, talk about what they are, why we use them, and how to create them. So what is a citation style? You've probably heard of MLA or APA style, but there are a lot of other ones, Turabian, Chicago, Harvard, and more. And they're just a set of formal rules for documenting sources in a scholarly papers. And a bunch of different professional associations and journals have different styles. They're all a little bit different. But the goal of all of them is for a smooth experience for the reader. With a citation, your reader knows exactly where to look to find the elements of a citation. They don't have to hunt around your paper looking for the publication year or the author's name. It's plain where that information should be. And APA stands for American Psychological Association, which is a professional organization founded in 1892. And the style, as we know it, has been in use since 1929, which is very cool. Obviously, things have changed a lot since 1929, so now we're on the 7th edition. So there are things like how to cite a tweet that we didn't have back in the 20s. But that has evolved into our current style that we're using now. And the goal is for your documentation to be uniform and consistent, so a smooth reading and writing experience all around. So why do we cite? First of all, to give credit to the original creator. You're marking which thoughts and words are your own and which you got from a source. When you do that, you avoid plagiarism, which is a huge deal. You don't want to take credit for someone else's work. The consequences for that can be pretty severe. But also, citing makes you look great. It strengthens your arguments. It says, I read this and I looked through it and it helps synthesize my arguments. And it strengthens your arguments and helps your reader find your sources. So if I read a really great quote or a really great statistic in one of your papers, I can easily find where that original source is, and I can go and I can read more for myself. So it makes things easier all around. So when do we cite? Every time you use words, images, or ideas that are not your own. So this includes direct quotes, paraphrases, summaries, images, charts, and social media posts, and anything else, lectures, serial boxes. It doesn't matter. You can cite literally anything, and you should. Every time, if it is not your own words, not your own thoughts, you need to cite it. And of course, we need to cite twice when it comes to the papers. We cite first in an internal citation in parentheses in the paper whenever you use that information. And then again at the end in the references list in the long form citation that we have down here. And what this does is it creates a map to the original source. So I go from reading along in the paper, I find the internal citation, I flip to the end, I look at the long form citation, and from there I can track down this exact edition of the book, and on page 83, I should have the information that you cited in your paper. So you're just creating a little map back to the original source. And it works exactly the same way with electronic sources. Of course, the URLs here are doing a lot of heavy lifting, but we still need that information in there. So if there's a broken link, for example, I can go to the psychologist and I can look for issue 17 for the year 2023. So how do you create a citation? There are a lot of formal rules for creating citations. Lots of commas, lots of periods happening in there, and it's a little trickier than MLA, you'll find. But there are lots of different ways to get help, and the nice thing about the citations is that you don't have to memorize all the different rules that there are, because there are a lot of rules, to be honest. So you can use the citation button in a database, you can follow the format on a citation guide, or you can use Noodle tools. So citation buttons are on all of our databases. Usually there's a little quote mark icon. You'll see that, and it'll say cite, and that's how you can find your citation button. And they are useful, but they are not always correct. So definitely double check those with our APA style guides, making sure that everything is in the correct order, everything's italicized that needs to be italicized, everything is in the right order. So where are those guides that I keep talking about. They are going to be on the library's website. Let me pull that over for you. And most of the time you're going to be getting there through the LibGuide. So let me pop open a LibGuide for you. And these are just course guides that we have for every class here at NLC. And I'm going to grab biology because that's one that uses APA. And all of our LibGuides are going to have the Cite Your Sources tab right there. And there's going to be a box for MLA and a box for APA. And so we want the APA box. And you'll see it says APA Citation Guide, and that is going to link to our APA Citation Guide. So you'll see again that there are a lot of tabs here. So there's lots of different things that you're going to need to format. Data sets, journals versus magazines versus newspapers are all a little bit different. So again, you don't have to memorize these, but definitely use these examples, and that way you can make sure that you are citing correctly. So we have information about citing for magazines. We have information about all the different kind of websites that you'll need to reference. And you have an example right up here. And so you can follow that example and you can make sure that what you get from the citation button is correct. And you can make sure that if you are writing it yourself, that everything is in the correct order, everything's italicized, that needs to be italicized, and you're following the rules here. Now, the third way that you can create citations is by using Noodle tools. I'm already signed in, but if you don't have a Noodle Tools account, you can hit that button and hit register, and you can create an account with Noodle Tools. It is totally free, it is totally optional. And what Noodle Tools is going to do is that it creates citations and it creates references pages. So I'm going to create a new project right up here. I'm going to call it, let's call it APA paper. And I'm going to leave it on APA and leave it on advanced. That way I have all of the options. And that should create a brand new project for me. Nice and empty and ready for my citations. When I have a citation, I'm going to go up here and add it to the new source. And then it's going to ask me, what am I looking at? Is it something from a database, a website, something that I have in hand, like a print book? Is it something I viewed or heard live? Maybe it's a lecture that I went to. I'm going to go for website because a lot of times that's what people come to Noodle Tools for. They tend not to have citation buttons on web pages. So usually we need to format those ourselves. So I'm in here, and then what you do is you fill in the blanks. You fill in as much information as you know about that particular website. And I'm just going to do an example one here. We'll do a fake one. And you'll see as I go through, there's going to be little pop-ups that are there to help me as I go through. Author. And the title, say, example title, example website. I'm going to hit save, and then it will create a citation for me. So it created one with the pretend website that I did. So you fill in as much information as you have. Chances are you're not going to have something for every blank, but you try to find as much as you can, and you hit that create, and it will make a citation for you. The other kind of citation that we can enter here is, I'm going to go to database, and I'm going to go to journal article, although you can do it with any of them, is copy and paste a citation. And I can paste in a citation that I have previously copied out of one of our databases. So I've checked it with the citation guides online. I feel confident about this because it's very important that when you paste something into Noodle Tools does not check it. So it says in this big yellow box here, do not assume that it's correct. Make sure that everything is correct before you hit paste. So I've done that. If I need to adjust anything, I can. I've got my options here to italicize and underline if I need to. And I'm just going to hit save. And that will add it to these citations that we have right there. Now, when it comes time to get my references page, I can go up here to export. And I can export to a variety of sources. I'm going to go to Word. And we'll wait for that to come up. Bring that over, and then you can see my references page. So it has double spaced, it has done the hanging indents for me, and it has put page numbers up in the headers. So making my life a lot easier, it creates references pages and it creates citations themselves. So Noodle Tools is one of our best tools. It is really easy to use. It is terrific. So definitely use the citation guides that we have, use Noodle Tools, reach out to a librarian if you need any help. Our chat button is always on the side of the library's website. So we are really easy to find if you have any more questions about citing.